Two police cars screeched to my driveway the moment my daughter's wheelchair rolled off our porch onto the sidewalk. "That's stolen HOA property," Karen screamed, pointing at Emma's motorized chair while officers cuffed my terrified 12-year-old daughter. I'm Rachel Doyle, single mom to Emma, a bright preteen with cerebral palsy, living peacefully in Meadowbrook Estates until now. Karen Whitfield ruled our HOA board like a queen, fining neighbors for garden gnomes, wrong mailbox colors, and unapproved flags. Years ago, the HOA owned a teal mobility scooter for community pool days, later reported stolen and quietly forgotten. Emma's new wheelchair, donated by a local charity, happened to be the same teal color with a similar sticker. Karen noticed it during a neighborhood walk and stared at Emma's chair longer than any stranger normally would. "Where did you get that scooter?" Karen demanded, blocking our path like she owned the very sidewalk beneath us. I explained the charity donation calmly, but Karen's eyes narrowed like she'd caught a criminal red-handed instead. "That's HOA property," she insisted, snapping a photo of Emma's chair without asking permission or apologizing once. I laughed it off, assuming she'd drop it, unaware Karen never let anything go once she fixated on it. That night, an anonymous complaint about stolen community equipment appeared on the HOA's official neighborhood forum. The next morning, a formal HOA letter arrived demanding immediate return of equipment we had never taken. I called the board, laughing nervously, explaining Emma's wheelchair was medical, not recreational, and certainly not theirs. Karen's assistant, Diane, coldly replied that the board would investigate thoroughly before dismissing any accusations against a resident. Neighbors began whispering, some avoiding eye contact, others texting me screenshots of Karen's dramatic Facebook posts about thieves. Emma, only 12, asked me quietly why people suddenly looked at her wheelchair like it was something shameful. I contacted the charity for documentation, but Karen somehow obtained their donor list and called them directly first. The charity director admitted feeling pressured by Karen's insistence that fraud might be occurring within their donation program. Karen showed up at our door with a clipboard, demanding a written statement explaining the wheelchair's origin immediately. I refused entry, and she threatened daily fines for harboring stolen community assets on our own private property. Fines began appearing, $50 daily, stacking up on our HOA account despite zero legal justification whatsoever. I discovered Karen once worked as a paralegal, disbarred years earlier for falsifying documents in an unrelated lawsuit. That explained her confident legal language, though it never should have applied to something this obviously personal and petty. Emma started dreading school mornings, embarrassed by whispers that her wheelchair might get confiscated by grown adults. I filed a formal complaint against Karen with the HOA's Oversight Committee, requesting an unbiased outside review. Karen intercepted the complaint somehow, since she personally chaired the very committee meant to review her own conduct. My neighbor Tom, quietly, warned me Karen had crushed 3 other families before over similarly manufactured disputes. "She likes control," Tom whispered, "and once she smells weakness, she circles like nothing will stop her." I began recording every interaction, sensing this wasn't ending with an apology or reasonable neighborly compromise anytime soon. For 2 weeks, an eerie silence settled, no fines, no letters, no confrontations from Karen whatsoever. I let myself hope she'd finally realized how absurd her accusations sounded to everyone paying attention. Emma even rode her wheelchair to the community pool again, sunlight glinting off its teal frame happily. Then I noticed Karen's car parked across the street, watching our house through binoculars every single evening. Karen filed an official police report, claiming she'd witnessed us transporting stolen HOA equipment across state lines. 2 officers arrived, confused, since medical wheelchairs obviously aren't classified as community recreational property under any statute. Karen produced fabricated HOA meeting minutes, proving the scooter's serial number matched Emma's donated wheelchair exactly. The officers, skeptical, asked for documentation, and Karen suddenly grew flustered, unable to produce anything official. Still, one rookie officer, pressured by Karen's confident tone, insisted on temporarily detaining the property for verification. Emma panicked as officers reached for her wheelchair, and Karen smiled, satisfied, watching my daughter's fear unfold. I stepped between them, demanding a warrant, while Karen filmed everything on her phone for evidence. The rookie, uncertain, radioed his supervisor, who arrived minutes later looking visibly annoyed at the situation. That supervisor, Sergeant Alvarez, recognized me instantly, having coached Emma's adaptive swim class the previous summer. He quietly pulled the wheelchair's real serial number and called the manufacturer directly from his own patrol car. The manufacturer confirmed Emma's chair was custom-built for cerebral palsy patients, nothing like a pool scooter. Karen, undeterred, claimed the charity itself was a front for reselling stolen municipal recreational equipment. Alvarez, growing suspicious of Karen's persistence, asked pointed questions about her own history with the missing scooter. Karen stammered, revealing she'd originally filed the scooter's theft report herself, years before, for insurance money. That admission hung in the air, and neighbors gathered nearby exchanged stunned, knowing glances at each other. Sergeant Alvarez, professional but firm, declined to confiscate anything, citing zero credible evidence against our family. Karen, humiliated publicly, doubled down instead, insisting handcuffs were standard procedure for suspected stolen property claims. That's when, coldly, she instructed the rookie officer to cuff Emma for everyone's safety during questioning. The rookie hesitated, glancing at Sergeant Alvarez, who firmly shook his head, refusing to authorize such action. Karen, undeterred, screamed that Emma was an accomplice and demanded immediate compliance from confused, uncomfortable officers. Neighbors began recording on their phones, capturing Karen's meltdown as she grabbed Emma's wheelchair handle herself. Emma cried out, terrified, as Karen yanked the chair, nearly tipping my daughter onto the hard concrete. I lunged forward instinctively, shielding Emma, while Sergeant Alvarez finally ordered Karen to step back immediately. Karen refused, screaming about her HOA authority, unaware her every word was being live-streamed by neighbors. The video, titled HOA Karen Attacks Disabled Child, began spreading rapidly across local social media groups. Within an hour, thousands watched Karen's unhinged accusations, her fabricated claims, and her attempt to physically intervene. Local news vans arrived within the hour, drawn by the viral footage of Emma's terrifying ordeal. A reporter asked Karen directly about the scooter's original theft report, and her confident mask finally cracked. I don't have to explain myself to reporters," Karen stammered, visibly sweating under the growing camera lights. Sergeant Alvarez, now fully investigating, discovered Karen's insurance claim years earlier listed a non-existent police report number. That fabricated number matched a report Karen's brother-in-law, a retired officer, had allegedly helped her file. Turns out, the original scooter was never stolen at all. Karen's brother-in-law had simply kept it hidden for personal use. Karen filed a false insurance claim, collected thousands, then years later invented a theft against my innocent daughter. The HOA board, watching the viral video explode online, called an emergency meeting that very evening. Neighbors, emboldened, finally shared their own stories of Karen's fabricated fines and manufactured HOA violations against them. Diane, Karen's own assistant, admitted under pressure that Karen routinely forged meeting minutes to justify her decisions. The board voted unanimously right there to remove Karen from her position, effective immediately, no exceptions. Sergeant Alvarez formally charged Karen with filing a false police report and insurance fraud from years earlier. Reporters asked Karen for comment as officers led her away, but she said nothing, face pale and stunned. Emma, shaking but safe, hugged Sergeant Alvarez tightly, thanking him for believing her when nobody else would. The crowd of neighbors applauded as Karen's car, keys confiscated, was towed away from her own driveway. Later, I learned Karen's own son secretly used a wheelchair too, something she'd hidden from everyone, ashamed. That revelation explained nothing, excused nothing, but it added a tragic, human layer to her cruelty. Karen pleaded guilty months later, losing her HOA position, her reputation, and facing real insurance fraud charges. Our neighborhood elected a new HOA board, immediately overturning every unjust fine Karen had ever issued against us. Emma rides her teal wheelchair proudly now, sunlight glinting off it, no longer a symbol of shame but victory.